What did you do there? What did you do? What is your project? What is the project
Ma'am,
name? Did I tell you that there has to be a project name, there has to be some objective, and you have to write a report on it? Did you start anything? Because over there, data collection and all also is one of the thing. Did you ever call me? Did you ever try to know that what I exactly have to do? Did you do?
ma'am,
In the group of that summer internship, constantly I was asking about the update and people were updating me. You're the only one who did not do. What topic did you decided for your for your report writing?
ma'am, ICU management.
ICU management. What is this, the topic that you will be writing?
Yes, ma'am.
ICU management would be your topic. Today what you are going to do is you'll find out all the problems that happens in ICU. Okay, in that,
Okay, ma'am.
in which area, in which problem you can take up as your summer project, that you have to find out and finalize today itself. Okay, I do not
Okay, ma'am.
know anything. What? Okay, you're saying. Now, from where you are going to take the data? You have finished your project. What is that summer internship? You need to collect the data. No, if you are not collecting the data, well, how you are going to complete your study?
Ma'am, I have some sheets, ma'am.
What sheets you have?
Ma'am, from GNRC. There, some datas are there, and I
Come
also
and meet me
wrote.
tomorrow in the in the college as soon as possible. Okay, come and meet me. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow there will be three class together. So day after tomorrow you come and meet me, or on the Friday come and meet me with each and everything, because I don't want like this lingering around and finishing up the summer project and not doing things. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
come and meet me in the college. If I see you only directly, I can actually tell you what are the things you have done and what I have to tell you to do, and get whatever things you have collected from GNRC. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. On Friday, ma'am.
On Friday, if you come, that day there will be no classes for you, so I will be available. I mean, like I can contribute a lot of time for you. If anyone else
Oh, okay,
also
ma'am.
wants to come, you can come.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. What is that? Amira, ask everyone to join as soon as possible. How many
Okay, ma'am.
classes were there for you people today? How many classes were there?
One class, ma'am.
What class was there?
BLS.
That's it. After that, there is no class, and still you people are
Mm,
not interested in joining class. Ask everyone to join now itself.
okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll continue this class for up to 8 o'clock. earlier I at least used to consider the attendance, okay, but from third semester onwards I am not gonna consider anyone's attendance at all. Physical classes, totally different thing. If somebody has genuine issues, they can inform me and they can take a leave. There is no issue at all, okay. But online I see that there is a enormous opportunity that you can attend the classes from anywhere, so there is no reason of giving any kind of excuses. Even if I am sitting somewhere, I can just take out my phone and I can just take out my headphone and I just can listen. It is that easy. But physical, yes, it is little bit difficult. You have to come to college. If you have genuine problem, you cannot really come and then attend the classes. That is totally different. But in online class, up to the online class is going on, I want everyone's presence. That's it. And I think I have enormous time. I can wait until the everyone comes. If you want your class to be start as soon as possible, then call all of your friends. Please call everyone, otherwise you will not be able to do your classes. They are in duty for what? Manirul, what duty is going on now? Summer project is finished, right? आप लोगों को पूरा साल कंटिन्यू करना है. Internship is going on. Manirul,
नहीं मैम,
mute
कुछ
करो.
शायद खत्म नहीं हुआ मैम, कुछ
क्यों
लोगों का शायद खत्म नहीं हुआ इसीलिए
क्यों खत्म नहीं हुआ?
लेट से ज्वाइन किया था ना मैम किसी ने शायद,
तो बट
इसलिए
हम लोग का टाइम तो 10 तक की है ना, उसके बाद वी कैन नॉट कंटिन्यू, इजंट इट? सो इफ देयर इज लाइक इफ
मैम
इट इज
ज्वाइन नहीं कर रहा था इसलिए सोचा कि ड्यूटी पे होगा शायद।
ओके, सो जिसका भी ये इशू है ना, आज मुझे रिटर्न में चाहिए दैट दे वेर इन द ड्यूटी और वट एवर प्रॉब्लम इट वॉज, आस्क देम टू राइट मी. ओके, राइट ए मेल टू मी. ओके, जो भी
ओके
प्रेजेंट
मैम।
नहीं है, इवन इन द ग्रुप आई विल क्या बोलते हैं, आई विल राइट इट इन द ग्रुप that whoever is not present today, they have to tell me the reason why they are not present today. And one more thing I want to tell you, whenever you are going to come to college, for at that time आप लोगों को जितने भी आपने हॉस्पिटल में रिपोर्ट्स दिए थे ना, so that reports you already have, you have given it in my email. उनका हार्ड कॉपी निकाल के you will be making a report. Okay, so that also you have to give it to me. Okay, हार्ड कॉपी चाहिए मुझे. so कल अगर नहीं, फ्राइडे को जब मनीरुल, सॉरी मनीरुल बोल रही हूँ, विष्णुरथ आएगा, आई विल शो द फॉर्मेट टू हिम and he is going to give to all of the people. Okay, you can take out the printouts whatever. Hello, yes,
ठीक है मैम।
okay, so you can take out the printouts whatever you have given to me, or whatever department you have visited, and then you can attach. Okay, and you can attach and make it as a report and submit it to me. Okay, so for that I have already given you mark on the basis of whatever you have submitted to me on my email. So right now I need the hard copies of that. And also one more thing, MS sir was telling in the last Viva, right, that you people have to cover all the area of the hospital. Whoever did not cover whatever department, you just write it down and make it as a list that, for example, Vishnuraj did not visit ICU and OT. Okay, so he has to write it down, whatever department is not
Ma'am,
being visited.
radiology and imaging, ma'am.
अरे सुन तो लो बेटा, सुन तो लो, मैं एग्जाम्पल दे रही हूँ. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वॉट एवर डिपार्टमेंट यू डिड नॉट visit, you will be giving it to the mastura saying that I did not visit this particular department and in next visit I want to complete that, right? So all of the people whoever did not visit the area, those areas you give to mastura and mastura will make a list out of it and she will give me. Okay, so accordingly we'll finish up the hospital visit. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. Okay. All right. So what subject is today? What we are going to study? What we are going to see? You know, I'm assuming that you know the subject name as well. Like yesterday, you knew about the subject name. What is the subject name to what you are going to learn today? What you are going to learn today, sir?
Ma'am, hospital project planning and design.
Okay. All right. नाहर बीमार थी, पर नाहर को सब कुछ पता है, other people are not knowing. Okay, so basically, let us start by hospital planning. Okay, this is the first module. I'll also show you the syllabus that you have to cover, and also I'll give you in the WhatsApp this syllabus. I'll give it to you so that for next time there is no issues in understanding what syllabus you have completed. Okay, so basically it is hospital project planning and design. So you have the syllabus of it where you have to understand. There are 5 modules, and in that first thing about planning, each and everything, you will be understanding what is the demand, like how you are going to understand the need and demand assessment, how you are going to do, and how you are going to select the site, what should be the hospital size, what are the legal requirements that is needed in planning a hospital, and what would be the project cost, and what would be the future consideration. That we'll be learning in the first module. Today what you are going to cover is basically understanding the need of planning a particular hospital, as well as what we are going to see is how the feasibility study is being done. Okay, how the feasibility study is being done, how we are choosing a particular site. So these many things only we are going to cover today. नेक्स्ट आपका क्या बोलते हैं, जो मॉड्यूल होगा उसमें we'll be learning about the principles in planning. Okay, so and also what are the preliminary surveys or market survey or market research that we have to do while planning the hospital, and what are the financial planning, how we'll be doing the equipment planning, how the operations would be made very smooth for a particular hospital. If we are making the plan properly, then only the operation would run smoothly, right? So that would be that you will be learning in the module number 2. Okay, in the module 3rd, what you're going to learn is basically design and development stages. Okay, and also there will be what is that, how the tender is being done, and how the construction tendering is being given to particular what is that, particular people, and furnishing and equipping the particular hospital, how it is being done. Everything would be learned in module number 3rd. Okay, and in fourth one, basically the clinical operations you would be seeing. So in the clinical operations, you will be seeing how we'll be dividing the zones, and what are the supportive areas, what are the clinical areas, and how we are going to plan those areas, right? that we have to see in the module number 4. And in 5th, basically, we would be learning about disaster management. Okay, so you understand that you as a hospital manager, you have to plan the disaster management planning as well, because in hospital anytime there is a chance of there is a chance of occurring any kind of hazards, right? Now, if as a hospital manager, if you are not understanding disaster management, it is really not recommended for you to become a hospital manager. Okay, so that understanding you will be getting from the module number 5. So as in we have seen whatever would be, like whatever we would be going like whatever this 5 modules would be covering, you have understood what are the things that you will be learning in this particular subject. We would take you to the first module, and we will try to understand what is the demand and need assessment study that is being done for a hospital planning. Okay, can you you can see the screen, right? You can see the screen, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, be a
Yes,
little bit
ma'am.
interactive. Okay, whenever I'm asking something, answer those, because I have to wait for answers that I do not want now. So you have to be little bit interactive. Chat में बात मत करो, directly mic open करके बात करो, ठीक है? So first stage is the planning. In planning, whatever we are doing, okay, that we have to understand. Basically, in the planning, there are some of the steps that we have to carry out. These we will be learning today. Not all the steps will be covered, but at least up to the choosing site we will be going. Okay, so in introduction, you have to know one thing very clear, that planning a hospital is one of the most important thing that comes before operating a hospital. Okay, if the plan of the hospital is not really good, hospital operations would be failed for sure. Okay, as you know, in India, uh, planning for a hospital is one of the difficult tasks. Okay, we have enormous amount of people. The population explosion is one of the problem we have hospitals, but not really access, all the people are not able to access the hospitals in a proper way. uh, if you see in the urban areas, there are hospitals within 2 to 3 kilometers away, but in the urban areas where people are traveling a lot far to just to get to an phc, right? So this is one of the problem that we are facing. It is a chaotic place where planning a hospital is very difficult task because of our populations. Okay, now, keeping in mind that we have this problem in our country, so we have to plan the hospital in a proper way, so that we can access enormous people who would be coming inside our hospital. Our footfall is going to increase, and as well as we can get the better revenue. Okay, so um keep in mind that uh, operating hospital is also costlier, while planning for a hospital and actually executing a hospital is also very costlier thing. The moment we make any kind of mistake, uh, later on, for example, in the this paragraph it is being written, you see that haphazard planning in initial stages by inexperienced and uncommitted technical person results in changes of constructional stage, resulting in unavoidable drainage of funds. That means you have done some mistakes in the planning stage itself. Now, while operating the hospital, you'd be draining some of the funds just because your planning was not really good. Okay, so this is one of the problem. Okay, so planning is very much important. Next, will be going to the stages that we have, steps of planning. What steps do we have for planning? First thing, first thing that we have to do for planning is need assessment. Okay, need assessment you have to do. Next, you will go for feasibility report. Next, you will go for an architect brief. and after that you will be doing the what is that request for proposal. We will be only covering these two parts today, and later other steps we will be seeing in the next classes. Bada hai, matlab ye the thing, like the documents are very much bigger, because you have to understand each and every steps very properly. So that is why it would take some time to understand. Next next you will be going for request for proposal, that is for construction, and next you will be going for appointment of consultant, detailed project report, notice inviting the tender, and you'll be going for allocation of work, construction of buildings, services, facilities, equipment purchase, manpower selection and recruitment, stage of commissioning जहाँ पे सारा planning start होगा for policies and principles. For example, all the other materialistic plan has happened. Your hospital is being built. The construction is started. Now for operations, there has to be some principles and guidelines that has to be made, right? So that would start in the stage of commissioning. Okay, and again there will be one review process that comes at the last. Okay. Now let us understand how will be actually analyzing the project needs. What are the needs that we have to understand? Okay, so this is the first step that comes in the planning phase. Okay, now what it is saying is information about needs drives decision during the planning phase and helps estimate the capital requirement of the project. Now, when you start planning and you analyze the project need, you can actually do the capital requirement. That means how much cost will be involved while planning for this particular hospital. Okay. Um, when you do the need analysis, you also would be identifying one thing for sure, that what are the catchment area you're going to cover, how many population you are going to cover, what are the needs of that particular population, and what kind of hospital do they need in that particular area. Okay, so over here, basically what you have to do, you have to do a market research. Okay, in that what are the things that you have to cover? Service area, demographics and the projections. Okay, uh, uh, in the Panikkiti, you're planning a hospital, so you have to read about the demographics of the population and the projections. In what way the in that particular area the young generations are more or the old generations? In that particular IMR rate is higher, or in that particular area there is less accessibility of the hospital. Each and everything about the demographics, each and everything, every possible information about demographics you have to acquire from the population. Next is specialty service line expertise. What kind of specialty you're going to offer it for that particular area, that you have to decide. Okay, so specialty, offering a specialty would not be your decision. Okay, it would be the decision what you get in the market research. Okay, in the research that in the feasibility study, whatever you will be finding out, accordingly you have to provide a particular facility for the hospital. Next is the community perceptions of the facility and any of its potential projects. So, what that particular community, that particular population tells about the facility. For example, you have to go and take the in-depth interview from the people who are available over there. So, you have to ask that what do you think that if we build a particular specialty hospital over here, what kind of expectations you are keeping from the hospital, right? So this kind of in-depth interviews you have to conduct. Now next is appropriate location of the new facility or facilities. Choosing whether it would be in the urban areas, whether it would be in rural areas, that is one of the thing that you have to plan. You have to plan it before itself, beforehand, that whether it will be in the urban areas and whether it will be in the rural areas. By defining that, there are some other decisions that you have to make. So later on that will come. Next is potential lost revenue due to project or relocation of the facility. For example, any loss in the revenue that is occurring in the project, or if you have to do the relocation of the facility, how feasible that place would be, right? You are planning it in a very rural area, relocation would be very difficult for the no, so not for the rural area, but in the urban area where there is a dense population. Okay, relocation, finding out a new place, finding out another branch for your hospital would be difficult for you if it is a urban area and there is a dense population availability, right? Next is presence and impact of the competition in that area. What are your competitions that you have to be aware of, right? Without understanding your competition, without understanding what kind of like potential problems you are going to get in your future, it is very difficult to survive in the market. So first of all, you have to understand what are the competitions that is available in the market, and understanding each and everything that particular competition is giving, and the competitor is giving to you. What are the services they are providing, what are their what that you have to do the SWOT, what are their strengths, what are their weakness, what are the opportunities and threat of yours, that you have to decide. Okay, so next is basically how you are going to do the household survey and the population survey if you want to do in that particular population. Okay, like in the catchment area. Demographic details of the families should be collected, like in like in a particular family, how many members should be there, or what is the what is the number of population available in that area. Education and income details of that people, disease profile in the last 3 years, what transition has happened in this area, non-communicable diseases are more or communicable diseases are more, you have to find out. Choice of healthcare providers for minors and major ailments with the reasons, you have to also understand what kind of providers I should keep in my hospital, whether I should go for much more ANMs or BSc nurses in our hospital. So choice of healthcare provider, that also you have to keep in your mind. Method of payment for availing healthcare, what kind of method? So for example, if it is planned in the rural area, so you will be only expecting most of the time the cash payments, not really the other type of payments, right? So method of payment that would be available, or also insurances will not be availed by all the people if it is in the rural area, but in the urban areas you would be mostly expecting that people would be having their insurances, right? Next is their opinion on deficiency in healthcare marketing. You also have to take an in-depth interview where you have to understand what are the deficiencies the healthcare marketings are having, how it should be marketed. It is always important to ask your customers that like what kind of marketing tactics we can apply to make aware that we have such and such hospital in this area with this specialty, right? It is important to take an opinion from your customers or from your consumers. You so these are the elements for the demographic itself. You have to understand the morbidity statistics. Morbidity statistics pata hai na, the basically suffering, like from what disease they are actually suffering, right? So morbidity statistics में you'll find out prevalences of communicable diseases, कितना prevalence है communicable diseases का, degenerative diseases, accident rates, specific disease and disorders. Okay, in that area the roads are not good, and most of the time there is a roadside accident in that area. So what you have to have? You have to have a really good accident and emergency unit. Okay, the emergency unit has to be very well equipped, and it should accommodate the patients who will be coming from that particular road accident, right? So like that you have to plan. Next is measurement of death rate, birth rate, maternal mortality rate, infant mortality rate, that I have already told you that these are the most important details. These are the most important, indicators that we have to find out before we go for planning of a hospital. Next is demographic, right? Demographic profile may what you're going to see, age and sex profile, population density, how much, not only population is important, but the density also you have to see, because if the density is more, there is a chances of increased communicable disease in that area. So everything is interconnected. So now you also have to define the population density. Next is occupational characteristics. The you okay, you the people did not read about occupational hazard, but in some of the areas, due to their occupation, people goes off a lot of diseases. For example, in the जो पेपर मिल है वो कहाँ पे है, जागर रोड में है ना. Paper mill is situated in the
Yes,
city
ma'am.
road, right? So in that
Yes, ma'am.
area,
Right.
what kind of diseases would be common? Like earlier it used to be, but nowadays the diseases has been reduced. What kind of diseases might occur in that area?
Ma'am, respiratory diseases and
Yes,
skin
great.
diseases.
Yes, yes. In that area, most of the time, people would be suffering from the respiratory disorders. So we have to have a hospital of having that specialty if we want to build a hospital over there. Okay. So we have to see the occupational characteristics as well. Next is extent of urbanization. An area was rural before, but now within few years, a lot of changes has occurred in that place. Okay, you have to understand the potentiality of happening a particular rural area and transiting it to a urban area, right? So you have seen that within few years that area has developed a lot. Okay, there will be some areas, like if I want to mention about, if I really want to give an example, I would give an example of Misa. Okay, that area was not really developed that much, but from the time that army camp has like army camp was situated, a lot of improvement has happened into that area. Okay, so when you see that this particular rural area has the potential to become urban, then you can assume that your footfall is going to increase in future, and you also have to keep in mind of expanding the hospital if in case the footfall increases. That's why it is needed to understand that extent of urbanization is possible in this area or not. Next is extent of migratory population. So for example, Guwahati, right? You know one thing, that in Guwahati, because of the opportunities, you can see migrations of the populations from different areas of northeast, right? So ultimately, even if you take this particular population catchment area, सोच लो आपका इधर क्या बोलते हैं इधर अराउंड 1,000 or 2,000 का है, ठीक है? But as there is a chance that a lot of what is that, people would be migrating to the place. You have to also keep that in mind, that yes, migration might occur because the migratory rate of this particular area is more, so I have to plan the hospital accordingly, right? So next is economic development of the area, right? Economic development of the area is very good. In that case also, you can have a good expansion plan for the hospital. Next comes your socio-economic statistics. In the socio-economic statistics, what you are going to see is economic status of the community. What economic status these people are in. So, what you can do, for example, a place where the middle class families and poor families are more in number. What kind of things we can do in the hospital? What kind of things we can do in the hospital? Think that I want to plan a hospital where it is a private hospital, and where the population is having economic background of middle class and poor class. families are only available in that area. So what can we do in that particular area?
Ma'am, tie up with the government schemes like
Yes,
autonomy.
yes. And what else? What else?
Ma'am, linked with any NGOs who can sponsor.
Yes, great. GNRC is doing something like that, something we can produce. GNRC is doing something, if you know. They are going to the rural areas. Basically, they are subsidizing the cost of the service. Whatever service you will be planning, you can subsidize the service cost, and you will not be concentrating in the what is that, you will be concentrating in the quantity. You are getting as much as population and footfall is increasing, so you can at least subsidize the cost of the services. This is what the GNRC is doing. They are going to the rural areas, they are giving some kind of discounts for the people, they are taking a lot of patients in their hospital, right? So basically you can do the subsidizations of the service cost. Okay. Next is literacy and educational standard of that area. That is also important, right? So many of the in the areas, if the literacy rate is very less, you would be expecting less footfall because people would not be actually accessing the hospital. People who knows that healthcare, allopathy is one of the what is one of the effective type of improving disease, effective type of treatment that can improve the disease soon, then only those people can come to your hospital. They are not having that mindset that they can actually take a decision. They would be definitely going to some they would be taking ayurvedic treatment or homeopathic treatment. I'm not demoralizing those people, but I'm telling that a lot of people does it. If the literacy level is low, they would be depending upon the other type of treatment than the allopathic, because they understand that the harm is more in the allopathic, right? So literacy and the educational standard also plays a part. Okay. Next is social habits and socio-cultural grouping. So according to social and socio-cultural grouping also, a lot of the change happens. So that is why in the hospital planning, this is also one of the things that you have to take into consideration. Housing conditions, yes, that is also one of the consideration. Style of living and the industrialization. Industrialization is basically because the occupational health hazard might occur for that particular area. Even industrialization also causes a lot of different kind of diseases in that particular area. So this kind of things should be kept in mind while planning a hospital. Now let's come to the hospital statistics that you have to keep in consideration while planning a hospital. That is type of existing hospital services. What are the services that you're going to provide in the hospital, right? What are the admission rates? You will go study 4 to 5 hospitals nearby and see what are the admission rates of those hospitals. Disease specific admission rate, that also from the market. From a particular area, you'll go study 2 3 hospitals, understand the hospital statistics, different hospital statistics, that disease specific admission rates, how much, what is the rate of those hospitals, you will be getting an understanding. Hospital beds in the region. In that region, for example, in Guwahati I'm planning a hospital, I'll go to each and every hospital and try to find out what are the hospital beds they are offering. Even if I'm not going to the hospital, but at least we'll be keeping a source from where we can identify what are the hospital beds that would be feasible for us to keep. Okay. Next is utilization of existing health and hospital services. Okay. How we can, how we can utilize the hospital services in an effective way by understanding and by also studying the other hospital. That is also important. Extent and effectiveness of general practitioner services. And this is understandable only. Effectiveness of the general practitioner, we have to see that whether general practitioner, if we are recruiting in our hospital, we have to pay a little less salary. Then like it is very difficult to afford the specialty specialist doctors, right? So if effectiveness of the general practitioners are more in the service, we'll be trying to keep GPs only in our hospital, like that. So these hospital statistics also kept should be kept in the mind while planning a particular hospital. Next, let's understand the hospital feasibility. Okay, how this feasibility study is being done. आप लोगों ने research किया है. Now it will be easier for you to understand whatever we will be studying in the feasibility study. Okay, first, what we have to do? We have to establish the doctor group to be surveyed depending on the preferred specialties, because we are in the feasibility studies, will be putting most of the concentration in planning the specialty for our hospital. So आपको डॉक्टर्स का ग्रुप को सर्वे करना है, ठीक है? So what are the groups that would be considering? General practitioners would be having the consultant physicians. We also would be having the general surgeons and specialist doctors, right? So how we'll be going forward? We'll be also doing a qualitative survey and we'll be doing the quantitative survey. मतलब qualitative में क्या करोगे? ये 45 minutes का in depth interview होगा, ठीक है? In depth interview होगा. So conducting of feasibility studies different types. Okay, this is one of the type you can do it. Okay, this is one of the type you can practice when you plan for a hospital. Okay, so in the qualitative, basically you will not be having the structured questions. You would be trying to understand the doctor's perspective in 45 minutes. But in quantitative, what you will have is you'll make you'll make a structured questionnaire and you'll go with a questionnaire to a doctor, and you'll be at least spending 30 minutes of time to understand what a doctor is actually what is the perspective of a doctor, right? So in the questionnaire, structured one, तो quantitative survey है, वो structured में क्या क्या चीजें होगा? First is adequacy of hospital with these specialties in the core area. मतलब what are the specialties we can keep, that we have to keep it, what is that we have to keep it in the questionnaire. And next is quality of this hospital based on facilities, infrastructure of handling advanced treatments, patient satisfaction and treatment quality. So questionnaire should be from these particular things जो यहाँ पे mentioned है. In these particular things only the questionnaire should be made, and the physicians will be answering on these questionnaires. So by seeing the responses, we have to take a decision. Okay, next is doctor recommendations on the specialties and others. Not only the structured questionnaire, in the qualitative survey you can ask from the doctor you can ask the recommendations also. What recommendations do you suggest for this particular hospital if I want to plan in this area? Next, location suitability. You will also ask from the doctors what location to be chosen, right? Next, also competition evaluation that you will be doing from your own understanding by evaluating the hospitals available in your competition. Okay, and format of suitability, what you are going to plan: a primary hospital, a secondary hospital, or a tertiary hospital, right? What in like what kind of care you will be providing? Level of care में आता है ये, primary, secondary and tertiary. You will be understanding in the hospital operations again. So primary, secondary and tertiary, what level of care you want to give? If tertiary, what kind of specialty? Single specialty you want to give, multiple specialty, or multi super specialty you want to give? So these has to be defined by you in the feasibility study. Okay, is that okay for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You people understood it well?
Yes, ma'am.
ओके, सो नेक्स्ट में आप लोग का अभी आज ही खत्म कर देती, बट आई थिंक वी कैन कंटिन्यू इट इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास. विल बी सीइंग द प्लानिंग टीम, एंड देन we'll be seeing the we'll be seeing how we'll be choosing a particular site for hospital and land requirement. That we'll be seeing in the next class. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Is that understandable to you? There is no issue, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very clear. There was no doubt, isn't it?
No doubt, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Thank you then. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.